right, folks, what is going on? This is episode 609 of the First and Frame Rate Show. I am VF Baller, and over here we talk about Georgia Southern and Atlanta Falcons football. And today I want to let you guys know I was wrong. I was absolutely wrong about a particular topic I talked about a few days ago. And we're just going to discuss it. And just to guys let you know that, sometimes, content creators can get certain things wrong. And the thing about it is that I don't want to be right all the time, because I want to know that you guys are actually paying attention to what I'm saying and also can correct me to the point where we all can learn together. It's nothing really drastic or anything like that, but I just want to really discuss it and give you my thoughts and opinions on what is the correct angle to go at this. So before we get started, I can be found on YouTube and Rumble. I'm also on Anchor, Stitcher, Spotify, Apple, Google Podcasts. The website is firstandframerates.com, and follow me on Twitter, where I can, I talk about things that don't make it to the show. Also on the website, you can subscribe to the podcast and, find a way to donate and support the podcast. Before I get one more thing before I talk about what I was wrong about. Cal Smith was promoted to I think he was assistant GM or something like that. I was looking at it not too long ago. Well deserved, because I talked about him a while back, and he sounds like he's ready to go. So Kyle Smith is made it up the rankings and the staff. That is really good to see. Kyle Smith really has an eye for talent, and it's good to have him in the front office. Also, you talk about Penny Hart coming back to Atlanta. I seen an article on that. I really think this kid's going to make the team, so I can't wait to see how that plays out. Even though he's a Georgia State alum, I can't stand Georgia State. I am Georgia Southern all the way. But hey, he's one guy that was on the team that I did respect. I actually like watching him play when he wasn't playing against the Eagles. All right, well, with all that out the way, what was I wrong with? What was I wrong about? A couple of episodes ago, I think I did one last week when I was talking about what was the problem, what was the issue with the Falcons. And I said it wasn't the defense, it was wide receivers. And I got got a handful of pushback from some people. People were telling me like the wide receivers are just fine. Drake London's going to be a star, which I do believe. I do believe that we don't, at the point, I didn't believe we had a legit number 2 receiver. And we could use a little bit of help in that department, but I concede. I don't think the wide receiver is the biggest issue. Upon further review and looking back, I think our linebacker corps is. I think we can use a little bit of help in the linebacker area. Don't get me wrong. I do like Lorenzo Carter. I do like Troy Anderson, but when you look at everything that's around this defense, that front 7 or that front 4, and then you look at the secondary. Then you look at our offensive line that actually can move people around in the run game. You look at the quarterback position, which is highly questionable, and people could say that's the weakest link. I think Desmond Ridder is better than advertised. I think Desmond Ridder's going to be really fine, not only because of his ability, but the weapons around him. So I don't think his decision-making is good enough for me to say that he's not the biggest issue. But it is a question mark, I will admit. Running backs, I don't need to even talk about the running backs. Tight ends, definitely don't need to talk about the tight ends. Special teams, with Avery Williams going down, I think we're going to be all right. I just mentioned Penny Hart. I think he probably could step in. Cordell Patterson, even though he's up in age, I think he'll be fine in special teams as well. So, and there's a couple other guys that could probably do well in special teams too. So we're going to be okay there. But I think our linebacker corp is just not up the par at the end of the day. So I don't want to get too far into the linebackers just yet, because I do think our defense is really good, and I think Troy Anderson is going to have a breakout year. But when you look at everything on paper, I think that's probably the weakest link or the weakest issue on the team. That doesn't make it bad. I think our team is very strong. You look at what we have on this team. I just list or talked about all things that we have when it comes to everything from front to back, offensive and defense. I think this team is a lot better than people want to give us credit for. I mean, you still got people, CBS is out here disrespecting Kyle Pitts. I just don't get it. I don't understand it. people out here still disrespecting Desmond Ritter when Desmond Ritter didn't do anything wrong. Desmond actually played a fairly decent, outing for his first 4 games. I mean, I did an episode on that a while back about the first 4 games of a lot of other players, and he was like right on par with the rest of them. I mean, I think he's on par with Matt Ryan. Doesn't mean he's gonna have a Matt Ryan type career, but we should give this kid a chance to do something. So I think he's going to be fine. With the weapons around him, he's going to be okay. So, but there is a question mark with the linebackers. Like I said, Caden Ellis. He's a kind of like a tweener. He does play linebacker, but he's an edge rusher, and he's going to be able to get at the quarterback. With Ryan Nielsen and company, you see what they was able to do with him last year. They're just going to continue to do what they do when he was with the Saints. So as far as coverage skills for the linebackers, I think we have and I think that's the biggest issue right there. Covering, the mid area with the linebackers is probably going to be our biggest problem on the defense. I mean, I think our secondary is going to be fine. AJ Terrell, Jeff Okudah, and Clark Phillips. I mean, we're going to be fine. Jesse Bates. I'm not worried about that. But our front seven, we got some mean guys that are going to get after the quarterback. But, our linebackers actually going to be able to tackle pretty well too. But that coverage, when we have tight ends, when we have running backs coming out the backfield against us, how those guys are going to react, that's going to be the issue. So I can see where that is. That's going to be the problem. That just goes back to, knowing your team. And sometimes you have to really look back and say, hey, what did I say here? What did I say there? Because I always go back and reevaluate a lot of things that I say on my episodes. And sometimes I feel confident in what I said. Sometimes I feel great about the content that I push. But sometimes I don't really feel as good with some things that I say. So therefore, I will sit there and be like, okay, how did that play out? How do you feel about this? What's going on there? And when I double back to really see it, I'm like, I'm not really sure. I'm not really confident with the way I felt on that particular, that take, or how I felt about that on that issue with the team, or that part of the team, or that player. And when I went back, I think, a lot of people were right, and I go back and I think I was wrong. I don't think the wide receiver issue is a big deal. I think they're going to be a lot better than advertised. And when you have a guy like Desmond Ritter can be able to throw the ball to them, if he gets protection, I think his decision making is going to be a lot better than people think. I think at the end of the day, we are looking at the evolution of a team that's on the rise. And I think that's something that we really need to embrace. I think a lot of people start to embrace it now. You have people on Twitter now that are no longer Eagle fans. They're starting to talk good about the Falcons. They've gotten over the whole situation with all the Bulldogs being drafted or signed to the Eagles. Yeah, I knew they were going to come back. I made the video like, you're not going to be accepted over there. It was fun. Your emotions got high for a second, but what we're doing over here is pretty cool too. And I think this is something that you can jump onto. You really can't knock what the front office done at the end of the day. Even with the issues I feel with the linebacker situation, I really feel that we're going to be all right. You can't be perfect, or you can't be on point at all positions, but you can mask those and cover them up with the schemes that you run. And hopefully, Ryan Nielsen, on the defensive coordinator, will do that. Maybe these guys will step up and prove us wrong. You just know. You never know. But I already know that the wide receivers, they're going to prove me wrong already. You bring Scotty Miller in. You got Mac Hollins that's going to be a leader here. You still got Drake London that's going to be, I believe he's going to be a star. Then you turn around and, dare I may say, Frank Darby, even Penny Hart. We just haven't talked about Penny Hart again in this episode. What's to say? So let me know what you guys think, guys. Am I tripping? Let me know what you guys think. If you like this commentary, the like button, share this podcast, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Hopefully you guys understand where I'm coming from. Maybe I am tripping. I don't know what I was talking about at the moment, but I always try to sit back and get a moment of clarity. And I feel like, I was wrong. I think the wide receivers are a lot better than advertised. So, Hopefully these guys do go out there and ball out. Drake London gets over 1,200 yards receiving. I want to see Mac Hollins get about 600. I want to see Bijan Robinson play wide receiver a little bit. Scotty Miller get about 400 or 500 yards. I want to see Desmond Ridder throw for 4,000 plus. I think that'll be excellent for this team. You throw for 4,000 plus with this running game we got. We're going deep in the playoffs. That's how I feel. I'm on YouTube and Rumble, also on Spotify, Stitcher, Apple, Google Podcasts. Also, Twitter is at VFBaller. Also, check out the website at firstandframerates.com. Go over there, subscribe to the podcast, and if you don't mind, if you want to support the show, there's a link over there to donate to help the show grow. All right, y'all, I'm going to get up out of here. Enjoy the rest of your evening. You guys take it easy, and you guys be blessed. Peace.